Another day toiling away on your machine? Asked an all too familiar voice. William Sturgis looked up from the metallic skeleton that had stolen all of his attention for the past 6 hours to see his friend Derek Everlin staring at him with a cheeky grin covering up what looked to be concern in his eyes. "Derek, what brings you all the way to my workshop?" he asked, laying down his welder torch. "I just thought I would come and check up on you. Feels like it's been weeks since the last time we bumped into each other. I'm starting to miss seeing you at my matches. After all, who else am I going to get to come and read robotics manuals while I give the audience the fight of a lifetime to watch?" Derek, the tall brown-haired man in his young 20s, said with a playful wink. "You know, I've never been one to enjoy watching fights," William said while wiping a thin layer of sweat from his brow. "That's why I'm building this lady right here, in fact," he concluded, pointing towards the metal frame laying on the table. Shaking his head, Derek frowned. "Still planning on leaving the bunker, huh?" William nodded. "Now that my father's gone, there isn't much keeping me here. We've lived in this bunker our entire lives, and I'm sick of seeing the same things every day." "You sick of me too?" asked the muscular man, putting his hands on his hips, which were covered by a black tank top that showed off his muscular build. "You know that's not what I mean," William said, cocking an eyebrow. "You're more than welcome to come along." With a defeated laugh, Derek shook his head again. You know good and well my mother would never let me leave this place. Besides, someone's got to put on a show and keep the masses entertained." William smiled faintly. "Yeah, if you tried leaving, I bet your mother would chase you down and drag you back. One of the perks of being the son of the head of technology and resources, I suppose. Not much more fun than being the son of the head of machines and robotics, either. If my mother found out what you were planning, she'd probably be down here begging you to stay. You and your father are on an entirely different level when it comes to understanding and building machines. She even said so herself. The guy that got to take your father's position has already been causing problems left and right," Derek said, looking vicariously embarrassed. "Well, everyone's just gonna have to deal with the new guy. I'm leaving this place no matter what. It's already written in stone," William said with a stern expression. "Are you sure that robot of yours is going to be enough to keep you safe?" "I've seen camera footage of the beast prowling the outside of the bunker from my mom's computer. I don't even think I could manage to take one out," the muscle-bound man said, looking genuinely concerned. William smirked. "I'm not too worried about it. I just so happen to have watched footage of the beast from my father's computer. I know about how fast they can act, and with the tech I've installed in the lady's neurochip, she'll be able to see and react even faster. Her combat system's derived from an old military—" "Whoa, let me stop you right there, Willie," said Derek, holding his hand flat before him with a fearful expression. "You know as well as I do I will understand a bit of your technobabble, so save your oxygen for something worthwhile." William grinned warmly in response. "Fair enough. Anyway, I came to see if you wanted to come and see today's match. I'm going up against Iron Gun Rex today. It's been the talk of the town," the brown-headed man said with a look of excitement. "You've been cooped up here for weeks, so I won't take no for an answer," Derek declared, pointing his finger towards his friend as if to challenge him into declining. William looked longingly at his naked machine laying on the table and then back towards his friend. After a sigh, he gave his childhood friend a nod. "Fine, I'll come, but this will be the last fight I'll attend. I probably only need one more week to complete Aramis, and I want to get her up and running as soon as possible. The quicker I do that, the quicker I can run a diagnostic on her and get out of this place." "You named it?" Derek said, stifling a laugh. "I think you've been spending way too much time in this little workshop of yours, buddy." "Of course I named her," William said defensively. "She is the first android I have ever built, and the AI is going to be so top-notch that once I get her trained up, you seriously won't be able to tell the difference between her and a human." "Okay, I get it," Derek said, waving his hand dismissively. "So why Aramis, and not something cuter like Hannah?" "Aramis takes inspiration from the Greek word eremos, which means to be peaceful and calm," William said proudly. "Wait, that doesn't make sense, though. Aren't you building this machine in order to kill the monsters outside?" Derek asked, looking perplexed. "Well, yes, but my hope is that by doing so she will bring the world back to a state of peace and calm," said William, smiling from ear to ear. The whole world? Derek asked, looking skeptical. You've got some lofty ambitions for this lady. Maybe you ought to just fix her up and give her to me instead. I'll treat her right, Derek said, puckering his lips towards the machine. William swung his fist into his friend's beefy arm, probably doing more damage to himself in the process. Over my dead body. Welp, the match of the century starts in about 4 hours, Derek said, changing the subject. I'm gonna head to my spot and warm up before the big show. Don't you get caught up in working on your precious Aramis and forget to come. After all, I'm not the only one dying to see you. Melissa has been asking about you. William shuddered at the thought of seeing his ex-girlfriend and her new boyfriend together in public. Wonderful, William said sarcastically. I'll see you at the ring. Derek clapped William on the back and headed out of the door of the shop, leaving William alone with his thoughts. Not much longer now, William said, turning and smiling towards his unfinished machine. Soon, you're gonna be up and running, and we can leave this accursed place behind. He reached for his torch once again, intending to finish attaching the shoulder blade he had been working on, when yet another voice echoed throughout the shop. Well, I just passed Derek. He told me you were going to the big match today. I'm totally coming with you, declared a short, blonde-headed girl of the age 19. William sighed and put down his torch yet again. Seems I'm not destined to get any work done today, he said in a defeated tone. Diva, to what do I owe the pleasure? The blonde smiled enthusiastically. I just came to see you, of course, and to check up on the progress of our little lady here. The little lady is coming along, Will said, slinking down into a nearby chair. The software elements are installed. Now I just have to finish the frame, synthesize the artificial skin in the lab using the DNA I got a few weeks ago, connect it to the frame's copper lines, which will send and carry electrical signals back and forth to the main board installed inside of her head, giving Aramis a sense of touch. After that, all that is left to do is run diagnostics and testing. She will probably be done in about a week, 2 at the most. Diva looked at William in awe. That's so cool! So she's pretty much going to be a human, huh? Not quite, William said, looking slightly disappointed. She doesn't have a digestive system, reproductive system, or any organs for that matter, and emotions are going to be simulated based off data, not chemicals. She's going to be far from human, but hopefully she'll be enough of one. Wait, if she doesn't have a stomach, how will she eat? Diva asked, slightly disappointed. She won't. I'm going to mix plant-based DNA into the skin, which should allow her to absorb sunlight from the outside world. Combining that with a feedback system that generates electricity via movement, that will be how she fills up her battery. Aw, and I was hoping to share snacks with her while we're on our journey, Diva said sulkily. Wait, what do you mean by on our journey? William asked with a raised eyebrow. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you. I'm coming with you, Diva said with a toothy grin. Like hell you are. If you come with me to the outside world, you'll be in constant danger. Aramis will have enough trouble keeping me safe, let alone a girl who can't fend for herself. Try and stop me, Diva said, sticking out of her tongue. Besides, I've been hanging out by the shooting range a lot lately. Those military guys have been letting me use their guns for practice, and I'm getting pretty good. Check this out, she said, brandishing a dark gray handgun that looked comically big in her little hands. Put that thing away, William demanded, waving his hands around frantically. You could shoot someone. Relax, she said calmly. Like I said, I've been practicing, and besides, the safety is on. Diva, listen to me. Those monsters outside can take some bullets. I've seen footage of our own soldiers trying to fight these things. A gun might distract it or weaken it at best, but it won't keep you safe. If you leave with me, you are probably going to die. You should stay in the bunker where it's safe. How's that fair? Diva argued with tears welling up in her eyes. So you get to leave me behind in this prison while you risk your life up there on the surface? That's so hypocritical. I'm coming with you and that's final. You're just gonna have to deal with it. Seeing the hurt in his friend's eyes, William decided to drop the subject. Fine, he said, defeated. Anyway, with all these interruptions, I probably won't be able to continue working on the Aramis today. How about we head into town and get an ice cream while we wait on the show to start? He offered. The short-haired blonde perked up, though the tears in her eyes continued to sparkle under the dim lights above. As long as you're playing, I'm flat broke, she said with a guilty smile. Already? William exclaimed. I gave you some money just a few days ago. What did you do with it? With a nervous chuckle, Diva turned on the spot and walked out of the door of William's shop. We should hurry and get our ice cream. If we wait too long, there will be way too many people. Hey, don't change the subject, William demanded, walking after the blonde. They made their way through the cluster of buildings and homes that filled the outermost ring of the bunker as William went on about responsible spending, which went in and out of the ears of Diva. Thousands of feet above them, the ceiling of the bunker was veiled in an impenetrable darkness, aside from the sections where large spotlights beamed down light. The spotlights did a decent job of illuminating the bunker, which was known to its residents as Bunker 87, below what was once the prosperous town of Charlotte, North Carolina. Because of its location, some have also began calling it New Charlotte, as a means to make the bunker feel more like a town. Despite the spotlights from above, streetlights still illuminated the pair's path, which branched off into different neighborhoods and led into the center of the town, which was considered the bunker's commercial district. Despite the world falling into chaos and humanity seeking safety in the ground, commercialism and trade still reigned supreme. Many of the town's hierarchy even claimed that the economy in New Charlotte was even stronger than what it was before the world was torn asunder. Most of the merchandise in the commercial district was produced by prefab machines controlled by the research and development sector. After production, the items are sold to traders for taxes on the income, which then goes back to the town, which keeps its officials paid. A simple system, but one that has proven effective over the 20 years of its existence. The pair arrived in the commercial district, which was already bustling with people excited for the coming event. The storefronts didn't look much different from what you would expect from any town before the invasion. Brick structures, wood trimming, glass windows. The original builders did a good job of making sure to carry on humanity's legacy from above. Or so William's father once told him. When the invasion took place, William was much too young to remember what the world was like, though he had glimpses from books and the educational database offered through the bunker's internet. Diva grabbed William's arm and excitedly pulled him towards the town's one and only ice cream shop, which was adorned with a cutesy dog mascot that was licking an ice cream cone with a comically long tongue. I'm totally getting the lemon drop cone this time. There's just something about the taste of lemon that fills the soul with energy. William laughed. It's probably the mix between sweet and sour. The combination probably creates a strong dopamine spike in the brain. Do you always have to make things sound so nerdy? The blonde teased, giving the brown head a playful shove. Just enjoy the ice cream for being ice cream without the need to understand how it works. Impossible, William explained enthusiastically. I am a nerd through and through. How can I build the perfect android if I don't even understand human brain chemistry? Diva smiled. You really are hopeless. You know that? Just as William was about to fire back about annoying girls who show up to a shop without warning, the pair arrived at the front of the line with a young cashier standing before them with an eager grin. Welcome to Frank's Ice Cream Parlor. What can I get you for today? One lemon drop cone and a mint chocolate cone for myself, William replied, pulling out his payment card. The cashier totaled up the order with a smile. Go ahead and have a seat at the tables. Well, we'll bring your order for you when they're ready. The pair walked over to a nearby empty table under a tree. Although the bunker's air was provided by a system of filtered ducts from the surface, there was still plenty of plant life to be found all across the city, giving the streets some color. The tree above the two was blossoming, giving the air a pleasant flowery smell, which Diva noticed, causing her to let out a pleasant sigh with eyes closed and cheeks flushed. It's so nice here. Why don't we get ice cream more often? The blonde asked. Because I'm usually the one paying, Will said with a playful scowl. A brunette waitress arrived at the table with their orders. The second Diva's hands were around her cone, she immediately began licking the swirly treat, causing William to smile. Some things are worth paying for, he said, before taking a bite out of his own treat. As the two ate, a voice familiar to William reached his ear. Well, well, if it isn't Bunker 87's favorite robotics engineers, said a laid-back voice from behind. William turned to see a man in his late 40s wearing a corduroy suit with a matching top hat. On his face was a beard that was mostly gray, but was prepped with strands of brown and thick mustache that sat atop a goofy, warm smile. "Finley Heron, to what do we owe the pleasure?" "I was just doing some prep work at the arena for today's big event, and I figured I could use something to cool off and saw you too." "How you holding up, champ?" the middle-aged man said, patting William on the back. "I'm doing okay," William responded with a blank expression. "Been keeping busy working on my projects. Would still be working on my projects if this one and Derek didn't come by my shop and pester me into coming." Finley laughed. "Thank you for getting him out of the shop, little lady. You did the town a service," he said, smiling warmly at Diva. Diva, taking a break from licking her lemon drop ice cream, smiled hesitantly. "I just did what a good friend should do." "So, anyway," the middle-aged man pivoted as he slid his hands into his pockets nonchalantly. "William, you seem to be very popular. 2 ladies have been looking for you. Can you guess which ones?" William grimaced without even taking a moment to think about it. "Your daughter's probably one, and I would assume the other would have to be Mrs. Everland." "Nail on the head, my boy. You don't have to rush to seek them out, though. If you are coming to the match today, then they will probably find you." "Great," William said with a sigh. "Today is turning into a troublesome day." "I should give you a heads up," Finley continued hesitantly. "Melissa is dating that Blake Warwick guy from the military," he said with a bitter smile, as if he had just swallowed a spoonful of vinegar. "I get the feeling she may want to throw him in your face." William laughed sarcastically. "Well, that didn't take long. We've only been apart for 3 weeks. Yeah." "I'm sorry, my boy. I guess I've taken it too easy on her over the years. Being a single parent, you tend to overcorrect by spoiling your kid. Hopefully she'll correct herself in time, but for now I just wish it was anyone but Blake. He's way too much like his father," Finley concluded while scowling. "I know what you mean," William said, looking annoyed. "I've talked to him once before at my father's funeral. He tried convincing me to join the military and said I needed to put some meat on my bones. Seemed about as emotionally intelligent as a rock." "I saw him once or twice at the shooting range," David chimed in. "He would go around drilling everyone like he was their general or something. Total tool." "Well, that aside," Finley said, his look of disdain sinking into a frown, "I should get back to the arena. Being the head of public relations means I have to be present for every little decision that has to be made, unfortunately." William nodded. "I understand. See you later, sir." "Until then," the middle-aged man said, putting on a smile before walking over to the counter of the ice cream shop. Diva sighed. "You know what's sad?" she asked, looking distantly at the table in front of her. "What?" William asked with a raised brow. "I've been in this bunker for 19 years, raised in the orphan program, and that was the first time I've ever met the head of public relations, the first time any official of the town has ever batted an eye at me. This place really does only care about what you can do for them." William frowned. "Yeah, it's unfortunate but true. If it wasn't for my father playing such a pivotal role in developing a large portion of the town's machinery, they probably wouldn't even know I exist either. That's life in a place where survival is the only objective. Be useful and be used." The two finished their ice cream in silence, but the somber tone that had enveloped the table didn't last long as music could be heard playing in the distance towards the arena. It was an energetic electronic tune, the kind designed to get adrenaline pumping, and it was having an effect on Diva, causing her to bob her head to the beat. "Looks like we only have a few hours before the match," William said matter-of-factly. "They only turned the music on 2 hours before to get everyone hyped up. If you want, we can head to the park and kill some time." Still bobbing her head, Diva smiled. "Sounds good to me." The two made their way to the park and took a seat on a bench facing the round walking path that encircled a large fountain in the center. The park was much busier than usual. Large clusters of people stood around the area, leaving very little space to actually walk the circle. One would have difficulty spotting the grass beneath their feet due to how densely packed it was. Not as peaceful as I thought it would be," William said, tucking his hands nervously into his pockets. Yeah, looks like everyone had the same idea we had, Diva chuckled. Oh well, we can still hang out. At least we're closer to the arena. Anyway, Diva hesitantly changed the subject. I was wondering, when Aramis is up and running and we leave the bunker, where are we gonna go? William looked up to the dark void above their heads and shrugged. Haven't given it much thought, honestly. Our bunker is buried beneath Charlotte, North Carolina, so going south or west would just land us at the beach. That could be interesting, but I don't think that would be best, the lanky dark-haired man said before thinking in silence for a moment. We could head north, he continued. I've done my research and I've read that Bunker 1 is stationed around Washington, D.C. We could potentially go there and see if we can get in. Maybe they've figured something out. Diva nodded. That makes sense. The old nation's capital probably had some of the best scientists and leaders. If there is anyone alive out there, they would probably be the most helpful. If that doesn't work out, maybe we could head west. California could be another interesting locale. They say the most wealthiest people once lived there, and it's where all of our movies and entertainment were once created. That's true. Sounds like we've got a plan then, William said with a slight smile. I'll just be glad to be anywhere but here. The pair spent the remaining time before the match excitedly discussing the journey ahead.